Hello everyone, my name is Chris and welcome back to another game review. Today I'm gonna be reviewing Cyberpunk 2077, and as usual I'm quickly gonna go through the story of this game to tell you short what this game is all about. Then I'm gonna share my own opinions and thoughts about the game, so in case you didn't play it, one big spoiler alert across the screen, and yeah, just click away from this video and come back after you play a game. If you want to, if you don't want to, you don't have to, it's totally okay. But if you really are interested in my opinions and thoughts about this game right now, then stay with me till the end of this video and let's get started. Alright guys, Cyberpunk 2077 is definitely the most anticipated game of 2020. This game has been announced 8 years ago, so it's been in development for 8 freaking years, and now finally in 2020 we get to play it. In case you maybe don't know what Cyberpunk 2077 is, it's a first-person action RPG stealth shooter, and it's been developed by CD Projekt Red. It's been developed in Red Engine 4, which is their own engine they're using for their own games. Story of Cyberpunk 2077 puts you in the boots of a V, a mercenary trying to live in Night City, which is a metropolis of a future in year 2077. So you're pretty much a merc doing all kind of dirty jobs or whatever you can to live a rich life in Night City. At the beginning of the game you meet this guy called Jackie, which becomes your partner, and together you two become really close and good friends, and you do all kind of jobs for different people together, all until one day you run into this guy called Dexter Dashon. He also has a job for you, and that is to steal a biochip from a company called Arasaka. So Arasaka is the largest corporation in Night City. They're controlling everything pretty much. They're the most powerful over there. You just don't want to mess with them. However, once in this mission, Jackie and we are trying to steal this biochip, and things don't really go as planned. Some things get really complicated. However, this chip that they're stealing, the box of this chip gets very damaged, and they have to insert the chip in their heads. So once they do that, Jackie unfortunately gets fatally injured and dies, but before he dies he gives this biochip to We puts this biochip into his head, delivers it to Dexter Dashon, that betrays him and kills him because he, like I said, complicated the things during this mission. Actually it wasn't really V's or Jackie's fault, but he kills him, and We comes back from the dead thanks to this biochip that was inserted into his head. Then he gets rescued by this guy that I forgot its name, and once the V is rescued and saved, that's where he starts to see this hologram projection of this guy called Johnny Silverhand, which is, by the way, played by Keanu Reeves. And this is the point from which the game gets extremely amazing and fun. Just the fact that there is a Keanu Reeves in this game is just enough to make the story even more awesome. So basically Johnny Silverhand was a rocker boy who had a band called Samurai, and they were really popular like 50-60 years ago in Night City. And he also really got tired of Arasaka Corporation controlling the people and destroying the society and everything, so he just decided to take a nuke and blow up entire Arasaka Tower, which he did. Unfortunately Johnny got captured by Arasaka Company and its owner, which dies in this Wii scenario when they are taking this biochip from Arasaka. He planted something called Soul Killer on the Johnny's head, which is a device that copies your consciousness and murders you. So his brain was fried, but his consciousness was copied on this biochip that we had inside of his head, which is the reason why he starts to see Johnny Silverhand. Not only that he starts to see Johnny Silverhand, Johnny is actually taking over V's body, and this process cannot be stopped. V is going to die, and Johnny Silverhand, or Keanu Reeves, is going to take over the V's body, and that's pretty much the entire story of this game. So for the rest of the game now, V is trying to do anything in his power, anything he can to figure a way out to remove this chip safely from his head without murdering him, or to stop Johnny from taking over his body. And for the entire game, Keanu Reeves will be your company. He'll be talking to you, and you can develop the relationship with this character depending on the choices you make and things you say. Just like any other decent RPG game, this game also has the selective dialogue option, so you can select different things you want to say to different characters. You can up your relationship with Johnny, or you can take it to a really bad level. It really all depends to player choices, but altogether, in shortest version possible, I could say to you, this is the story of Cyberpunk 2077, and wow, this story was really good and breathtaking, just like the Keanu promised to me 3. Man really kept his word, and I think Keanu Reeves did an excellent job voice acting Johnny as a character. I really enjoyed seeing him in the game and what he does and things he says. The story is really good. It's perfect. I enjoyed every moment of the story and everything that was going on here. Of course, I'm not gonna go through all the details and spoil the game completely, but all I'm gonna say is that this was probably one of the best game stories in a while I have seen. It's really well done. All the characters really feel like real people, and the game really made me care about them, not just the main characters but the side characters as well, and many other people you work for and meet through the Night City. It really gave me that feel of caring for that character, and the more you develop relationships with these characters, the more you emotionally get connected with them, and that's what I really appreciated about this game so much. So yeah, I totally recommend you to check out this game. Just its story is reason good enough to play it, besides the gameplay and many other things that are amazing about this game, which I'm gonna talk about now. So yeah, the story is just pure 10 out of 10, guys. I really loved it. Alright, let's talk about gameplay, and oh boy, there is a lot to talk about here. So much that I don't even know where to start from, but I'll start from something that you're gonna see a lot while playing Cyberpunk 2077, and that is how alive the world and environment in this game feels. I honestly never played an open world game with more alive environment than this one. This game definitely tops above all other open world games and their alive environments, because doesn't matter if it's a day or a night in Night City and its metropolis, it just always feels so alive. There is hundreds of NPCs walking around the street, all of them are doing their own thing. There is so many different animations, everything is very well animated and very well done. It really, like Keanu Reeves said, feels breathtaking. It really is breathtaking walking around the metropolis and watching all of that, like the screens of TVs and all the lightning and colors and everything that is going on around the Night City, and all the beautiful animations. It's very well done, and I love how NPCs react to what you do around Night City. For example, if you try to kill any civilians, It's a bit silly how police just spawns around you and attacks you, but it's in the same time something you don't want to do most of the time, because the police will absolutely obliterate you in no time if you try to cause some trouble or do some criminal activities in the center of the town. They'll send these like SWAT or whatever they are, cyber police that will just kill you very easily. While you're outside the town, well, if you're high level enough like I am in this video, you can cause some trouble and still kill all the police, because the Miltech is weaker than police of Night City department. So yeah, you can technically survive the police attack in this game if you are high level enough and if you have really strong weapons, but it's again something that's pretty pointless to do. There is no sense of doing something like that, and it's pretty risky. Most of the time you're gonna just die and lose your save or whatever. So don't do any criminal activities around Night City. There is however sometimes these fights between police and thugs around the town. You're gonna see these very often, and you can join the police and kill thugs. The police will be grateful to you after that. You can go around the town and complete these NCPD missions, which are just basically killing the criminals, and you get money from that, so you can actually help Night City police department that way, and you can be a good guy by killing these criminals and bad people. Combat in this game, wow, well, combat is something I was really surprised with. Combat feels extremely smooth. It reminded me a lot of like games like Dead Island or Dying Light, more I would say. That's how smooth the combat is and movement is in this game. It's pretty smooth. You can move really fast around. Shooting is really cool as well. Weapons don't really have a lot of recoil. You know, it's not really a realistic shooter or whatever. It's very arcade-ish, and that's how it's supposed to be for this type of a game. I'm totally okay with that. I love how you can upgrade your weapons and how you can upgrade your cyberware. In 2077 body modification is a thing, so you can visit these shops and you can buy the cyberware for your character, like mantis blades for example. There is not only a gun combat in this game, there is also a melee combat, which is something I didn't use. The only melee combat I used in this game is with those mantis blades, which in my opinion is the best melee weapon in the game, but there is probably much more powerful melee weapons like katanas or some knives that you can find through the game. Since this is an RPG, all weapons and pretty much all items in the game have their rarity. They go from uncommon, from common to uncommon, then to rare, and then epic, and then the last and rarest you can find is legendary. These are the most powerful weapons, but in the same time it doesn't have to mean that. It really depends at which level you obtain which weapon. You can also upgrade some common or uncommon weapons, and they can be more powerful than some epic or legendary weapon. It really depends on the player's choice and which approach you want to have in this game. You can totally play this game stealthily and non-lethally. You don't have to kill anyone through the entire game. You can use blunt melee weapons and just knock your enemies out. You can even make your guns non-lethal. They will just knock your enemies on the ground and leave them incapacitated. I don't know how to pronounce that word, sorry guys, but you know what I mean. So yeah, you can do that as well. So there is really a lot to do in this game. So many different quests, so many different things and parts of the town to explore. The city is separated in different parts. Each of these zones are like level areas. Some where you're gonna meet more badass enemies, some where you're gonna meet lower level enemies that are easier to kill. Like I've mentioned earlier, this game is a RPG, so it has a selective dialogue option. At the start of a game, you can customize your character. You can make him or her look whatever you like. You can choose between male or female. Customization is so deep that you can even customize your genital area. And no, I'm not kidding, it's real thing. It can be done in this game, believe it or not. It's kind of funny. So the customization is really deep, actually, I would say, and interesting, even though I didn't really mess around a lot with that. A lot of people considers that that's pointless because the game is in first person, but that's not a thing. There's a lot of times in the game when you'll be able to look yourself in the mirror. You'll also be able to look yourself through the windshield of a vehicle that you're driving in third person. There is also a photo mode, which allows you to float around your character, take awesome pictures. So customizing your character is not pointless. It's actually pretty useful if you want to take some cool screenshots or whatever, where you want to look cool. Something I was annoyed with in this game is that a lot of times you're gonna be dressed like a complete idiot just to complete your good stats. That's a big minus for me in this game. A lot of times I looked like total fucking idiot just because I wanted to fill my stats on the character, like armor and health or whatever, because it's an RPG. I'm usually not a fan of RPG games. I don't like RPGs, I don't play them. But games like this are an exception, and I can play them without any problems. But it has some downsides, of course. Game itself is really big. It has a lot of things to offer. I also really like how menu and inventory are very simplified. I really like the UI of the inventory. It's a very simple. Same thing is with the map. The world is really huge, and I love how map is very simple, accessible. It's very well done. The design of these menus of the map and inventory, and for example your messages that you obtain through the game from different characters. Also, the cool thing about these messages is that not you only read them, but you can reply to them to finish the quest or something. So these messages have multiple purpose. Sometimes you'll have to answer the message on your phone, click on it to complete the quest or something like that. So I really like that. So you have this phone in the game which you can use to call people, talk to them, and also they will react to you depending on the things you do or choose to do in the game. Quest menu is also very simple. Hopefully, I don't really like those RPGs that have unclear quest menu and you can't tell what is a side or main quest anymore. In this game it's very well done. It's separated in sections like gigs, side quests, main quests, and other things, you know. Radio stations, oh yeah, that's also a part of this game. Whenever you enter a vehicle, you can pick from a few different radio stations and the music you're gonna listen to. I usually listen to Night FM radio because it's the coolest to me. Soundtracks in this game are just something beautiful. I just fucking enjoy them, especially at some certain parts of the game. Soundtracks are very well done. I just music to ears, literally. Just I could listen to that for hours and not get bored of it. Whoever composed them did an excellent job, really. Shards again are something you can collect through the game, which is like an info about the location or some characters or what happened to that certain area. There is thousands of these through the game. You collect them non-stop, so it's always interesting to read something from them. Also, these shards, like messages, have dual purpose. Sometimes you'll have to read them to complete the quest or extract some info from them. There is a bunch of vehicles in this game, just like a lot of them. You can buy all of them, or you can pretty much obtain most of strongest, actually fastest vehicles in the game for free. But the game has a lot of vehicles you can drive, from fast supercars to big jeeps that can go off-road, or some cars that are fast and can go off-road, vans that are extremely slow and shitty, to some small smart cars that are also small and actually pretty fast, and you can spin them around very quickly in small spaces. So it really is about your style and what car you want to drive. You can even drive like futuristic Mustangs and muscle cars. There's a lot of vehicles you can drive in this game. However, I think it could be cool if you could have maybe customized the vehicles in the game, like a vehicle customization would be cool. Also kind of sucks that you cannot change your character's appearance later in the game. Once you create your character, it's gonna be like that for the rest of the game. Skill tree in this game is something that is in the same time cool and disappointing. A lot of these skills will just boost up your stats. None of these skills, almost none of them, there is some of them that will change the gameplay, but most of them won't affect the gameplay or the way you play, which is pretty stupid actually, I would say, because this is a huge game, a huge open world game with very rich skill tree. There is hundreds of different skills you can upgrade or purchase, and none of them will pretty much give you any gameplay advantages or change gameplay in any way. That kind of sucks. I didn't really like that. I think they could have done that a bit better. Stealth in this game. Yes, stealth is something that is also part of this game. The stealth is more focused on hacking, and like the cyberware deck that you have, like this chip with hacks. For example, in this video you're seeing I have a legendary deck with a bunch of different hackables, a bunch of different hacks actually. And stealth is I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't feel really that smooth like the combat does. Stealth is, it's kind of boring. I actually didn't stealth that much in this game. You know, it's all about hacking different cameras and disabling them so they can spot you. You can sneak up behind your enemy, and the animation of breaking his neck is pretty repetitive. There are like 2 different animations. You can also decide to grab your enemy and knock him out, which is a non-lethal version of stealth. You can hack the turrets to your purpose so they kill your enemies, but then again it makes noise. It's kind of pointless. It's not stealthy anymore. You get spotted very easily. So stealth is not really developed in this game, I would say. It's not that much fun as I've thought it would be, but it is part of a game. It's worth mentioning, and it's easy. It's too easy. I think the stealth should have been more challenging in this game. You can literally hack everything from the distance, all the cameras, everything, just disable it from the distance in a few seconds, and you just go in, and AI is kinda stupid while you stealth. They literally are, I don't know how to describe them. They have the path, they move around, and no matter what you do, how much noise you make, how much obvious it is that you are there around them, they're just not gonna react to it. But however, they will spot you really quickly, even though you can purchase the cyberware that slows the time once you start getting spotted, which allows you to move faster while they are slowed down. Again, that part doesn't make sense. It can be again bypassed, and those are some of the gameplay minuses that this game keeps suffering from, and I think they could have made that a bit better. Shop system is also kinda clunky how it works in this game. You have to like upgrade yourself and reach the highest possible street cred to be able to buy some better things at the weapon shops or at the clothing shops or whatever, and even when you purchase them, you can still go around and just find a random group of people that are thugs, kill them and take their weapons. They're gonna be actually better. Their weapons are gonna have better stats than the one you purchased at the shop and actually paid money for it. It kind of doesn't make sense. I don't really see what's the point of these shops besides buying components for the weapons and upgrading them, and maybe some cooler scopes. For example, the scopes as well have different RPG levels, like uncommon, rare, epic, and all of them are pretty much the same. They don't give you much. Like if you take an epic scope and uncommon scope and they're same, there's not much advantage. It doesn't give you much. It's pretty much the same. It just maybe is a different color or whatever, but it just doesn't give you any better stats on the weapon or whatever. However, the game altogether is rich with its environment, with its world to explore, things you can do, but I feel that they could have imported much more into that. They could have expanded these things that you can already do. They could have expanded what you could do with that, and they could have expanded its possibilities. So that's kind of what I got disappointed with in this game. But primary reason why I wanted to play this game is its story, and that for sure wasn't a letdown. That was really great. Gameplay was also really good, but it could have been a bit better, actually much better, I would say. They could have added so much more things. I expected that it's gonna be much richer to what they've been talking about and how they've been presenting the game on E3. I expected that there's gonna be much more, but it turns out that it's just another open world RPG, just like other games. It doesn't have anything that some other games like that would have had, but altogether pretty enjoyable gameplay, but it could have been much better. Alright, let's move on to the darkest part of Cyberpunk 2077, and without a doubt that is its optimization. And that's something that a lot of players were upset about, especially console players. Not only that they were upset, they were angry. They felt like their money was stolen from them, and one part of me agrees with that, the other part doesn't. Don't get me wrong, the game visually looks very impressive. It's beautiful. I ran this game on all maxed out ultra settings on 1080p resolution and 60 plus FPS most of the time, but that most of the time is where I can just draw a fat line and give this game a big minus, which is definitely something I'm gonna do, because they had 8 years to develop this game and make it work fine, and in 8 years they haven't managed to do that. They failed. They failed terribly. The list of bugs and glitches in this game is just endless. A lot of times you're gonna see vehicles or bodies being stuck in a wall, just those texture glitches. A lot of times the HUD's gonna be stuck on your screen when it shouldn't be there, and then you have to load the screen. A lot of times dialogue screens are gonna be stuck on your screen, and then again you have to load the checkpoint to remove the bug. Then texture glitches like your mantis blades being stuck on your arms even when you're not using them. I tried entering the car to remove the glitch. I thought that some other animation would fix it, but no, I again had to restart the save. Then sometimes NPCs will get stuck and they won't do anything, and you can't finish the mission. You again will have to load the save. The list is literally just endless. The bugs are just there and you have to deal with them, but it's just how it is. The real massacre happened to PS4. Oh boy, they massacred the game over there. The game struggled to maintain 17 FPS on PS4. That is just unplayable, literally unplayable. It's terrible, and the game would often freeze, crash on consoles and everything. I mean, from one side, I do understand those angry console players. From the other side, I don't, because you're trying to run the new game on a 7-year-old console. This is a next-gen game, and it's not meant to be played on an old-gen console. Again, angry PC players that are blaming CD Projekt Red, it's not fair. It's not fair from any of us, from players, to blame them on devs, because they said us a bunch of times, the game is not finished, we cannot release it. The people were impatient, and they were sending even death threats to devs, which I think is not okay at all, and it's completely wrong. Whoever did that is obviously a fucking idiot. I got no other words for those people to call them than just fucking idiots. Sending death threats in general to anyone is a bad thing, and especially for a video game developer, it's stupid. They warned us multiple times that the game is not ready, and no, people still wanted to play a game, and the game was released buggy as hell, and then people complain about it, and it's not the devs to be blamed. The people were just putting too much pressure on them, and it's understandable what happened with this game. So I mean, what else did you expect it, guys? However, despite all that, devs again still had 8 freaking years to complete this game, to develop it, and they again failed. I mean, once you get used to all these bugs and glitches, and once your eyes adapt to all the texture glitches and everything, you just kind of forget about these bugs. And it's not that they're that big that the game is unplayable. Whoever says that this game has bugs to the point where the game is unplayable is lying, because that never happened to me. You can just load the checkpoint and the game is just gonna work fine. Even if you have a glitched screen, texture or whatever, just quick save and quick load that checkpoint and it's gonna be fine. Even if you saved it while it was bugged, it's gonna be fine. So it takes a few seconds to fix the bug, pretty much any bug in this game. So it wasn't bothering me honestly that much. But for a game that costs this much, and for a game that was in development for 8 years, it's hard to tolerate something like that. It's hard to give a kind words for something that didn't deserve it. So that's my opinion in it. However, like I said, I've been running this game all ultra settings, 1080p resolution, 60 plus FPS most of the time. The only time I was getting frame drops is when I was in the center of the town, surrounded by hundreds of NPCs. That's when my FPS dropped even below 30. That's when it was terrible. So you can only imagine what amount of horror it was on the PS4. My PC specs are next. My GPU is RX 5600 XT, 6GB GDDR6, so I have AMD configuration. So my CPU is also AMD FX 8320 3.50 GHz Black Edition, and my RAM memory is Kingston Fury 16GB DDR4, also Black Edition. So these are my PC specs, and I had no problem running this game most of the time. It was completely fine, 60 plus FPS, but sometimes the game just would overload my CPU. Again, my CPU is very old, so I can't even blame the game for that. I could have predicted that happening, but it was very rare with this game. But altogether worked really nice, really smooth on my PC most of the time. But sometimes when these frame drops occur in the most beautiful moments, when the game's trying to show you all its beauty, it's the ugliest thing ever. Honestly, it's not really that nice when it happens. And despite that they were working on the game 8 years, it's not a thing you should praise, you know. It's nothing good, definitely. But the future patches will fix it. Definitely, they fixed Witcher 3. I think they're gonna fix Cyberpunk as well. It's just gonna take time. So my opinion is that if you want to play this game very enjoyably without any bugs or whatever, well, you're gonna wait. You're gonna wait a long fucking time for them to fix all the bugs and everything, and then play this game. Is it worth waiting that long? Absolutely no, because these bugs are nothing that is that bad that will stop you from enjoying the game or whatever. There are certain moments when the game annoys you with those bugs and everything, but it's definitely not worth waiting that long to play this game and enjoy its story. Altogether, I would say that Cyberpunk 2077 is something really special. It's a unique experience, and it is a next-gen game with some amazing things we haven't seen before in any other video game. But in the same time, I think it was a bit overhyped, slightly, and that I can't really ignore all of these bugs. I can, but I don't want to, because the game again was 8 years in development, and I just can't say that it's alright, because it's not alright. And there are some minuses around the gameplay. I expected more. My expectations were higher. I always feel I get disappointed with pretty much anything when I have high expectations, but I really do expect that this game is gonna deliver more developed gameplay, but it didn't. And yeah, altogether great game, but it could have been much better. That's my final opinion. It's really good, but it could have been even above that. So yeah, guys, I think I said everything I wanted about Cyberpunk 2077. Let me know what are your opinions and thoughts about this game down below in the comments. Have you played it? If you did, what do you think about it? I hope you enjoyed this video. I just want to say thank you for watching. I love you guys. You can join my Chris Facebook group, and the link is down below in the description. And this is the last video of 2020. I wish you all a happy new year, and I hope 2021 is gonna be much better, honestly, because 2020 was really bad, especially for Croatia. Lately we had those earthquakes. I'm okay, don't worry. I'm far away from that. I like 200 kilometers, so I'm okay, don't worry. But yeah, it's not a good end for of a year. It decided to be a hardcore till the end. So stay safe, guys, and I'll definitely see you in the next video. Chris out.